So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth edition of Raising an Athlete. My name is Amita Malhotra Lalwani, and I'm the founder of Equalsportz. After our last edition in May, on the topic of the art of sports parenting, I see Anju ma'am here. She was one of our speakers on the panel. She shared a heartfelt story, and there were so many parents over here who were so moved. And one of those parents came up to me and said, every minute of this conversation was so valuable, and I wish far more parents were here, and they need to be here. I think the response to tonight's edition suggests that we are getting there. I think all our tickets went out, of course, in Delhi with the traffic. There's no guarantee of how many of those people are going to land, but I'm very thankful to all of you for making in time for tonight's session. It's clear to us that there is a growing community of athletes, parents, coaches, sport experts, enthusiasts who are investing in athlete journey and are committed to learning, improving, and helping the sport move forward. I want to share a little bit about our journey at Equalsportz. For us, it really began with a question. According to our own initial estimates, parents in the top 10 cities in India spend around 4,000 crores on coaching alone. We wondered why then is it still so hard for athletes and families to find the information that they need. Information around progression, around coaching, equipment, tournaments. Why do we parents have to learn and relearn all of this over and over again? Find this out anecdotally, one to the other. Our own journey combined three perspectives. First, our perspective as sport parents. My daughter is an 11-year-old, she's training to be a professional golfer. And on that journey, we found how difficult it is sometimes to find trusted guidance, quality resources, and find out the pathways that it will take. Second, both Rajesh and I have been media professionals. And I think from our own journey, we feel that even though we see algorithm in today's day decides what you get to watch, but at the end of the day, it is the quality of the content and content that informs, inspires, and genuinely improves lives that still matters a lot. We had Manisha with us, also Manisha Malhotra, last month, and we've seen significant, on the internet, some of the video clips that we put out of Anju ma'am, of Manisha, the kind of warmth, the kind of response that we've received, it tells that there is so much appetite, there's so much hunger, we just need to put that community together. Finally, as entrepreneurs, Equalsportz is our attempt to bring this knowledge together, simplify access, and make participation in high-caliber sport possible for junior athletes across the country. The response has also been good from schools, sporting institutions, who are now reaching out to us to bring our work to them. None of this would have been possible without the right support. And specifically for this Physical Talk series, I'd like to thank India Habitat Center, Mr. Sandeep Tandon, and the entire programs team at IHC for making this happen month on month in partnership with us. Now, before we begin, it's time to talk about the topic today. And it's really worth asking what we mean by emerging sports. Now in India, cricket enjoys so much of our imagination, our share of wallet, our share of attention, that nearly every other sport is grouped under the umbrella of emerging sports. While cricket still accounts for 86% of India's sports economy, according to a recent study, emerging sports have grown into an approximately 3,000 crore plus ecosystem. So if we see it from an industry perspective, emerging sports are often defined by their growth potential. You're really looking at, are more people playing the sport? Are more fans watching it? Are more competitions being created? Are more sponsors investing? Now, these questions, of course, matter because growth creates opportunity. But so many of you who've joined us here are parents, and for all of us, one of the things we are all specifically interested in is what does that growth actually mean for the athlete? So today, we're looking at emerging sports not as a category. So we're not debating what fits into this bucket and what does not. We're really looking at sports as how each of them are in this journey. The story of emerging sports in India, like many of you know, is a story of progress and frustration. We have FIFA happening right now, so we can consider football. Every 4 years, as FIFA World Cup captures the imagination, we all in India ask, "Arey, hum kyun nahi hai World Cup mein?" And then we feel so frustrated when we look at countries which are the size of maybe Vasant Kunj in Delhi, who are participating, in the World Cup. And football remains India's second most followed sport after cricket, with millions of passionate fans. And still, the ecosystem finds itself grappling with governance challenges, uncertainty around leagues. We all know what happened with ISL, administrative disputes, and questions about the long-term direction. So in many ways, that tension defines the journey of emerging sports in India. The audience is growing, the athletes are talented, the interest is undeniable, but growth alone is not enough. Sustained progress requires strong institutions, thoughtful leadership, and ecosystems that allow athletes to dream, to compete, and thrive. As we hear from our panelists tonight, we'll explore 6 key questions. Can athletes at every stage access the sport? Can they find high-quality coaching? Can they compete regularly? Are there high-quality competitions that exist? Can they progress through clear pathways? Can they see role models who inspire belief in them? And finally, can the economics of the sport sustain athletes and the ecosystem around them? And before anyone in the audience asks, we are aware that there are many other sports that deserve a place in the conversation tonight. So please do consider this as part 1 of the conversation. And with your suggestions, we do hope to come back soon with a second set, with a whole new set of sports and voices in a future edition on emerging sports. For tonight, we're delighted to bring together an incredible group of diverse voices. And I'll very quickly introduce them all to get things started. We're very excited to have with us our first panelist, Mr. Amandeep Singh Johl. Amandeep sir is the CEO of the Professional Golf Tour of India and has spent more than 4 decades shaping the sport as a player, as a coach, and as an administrator. A former Asian Tour professional and founding board member of the Asian Tour, he's witnessed the evolution of golf in India from multiple vantage points. Today, under his leadership, the PGTI has entered an exciting phase of growth, securing a landmark partnership with DP World, expanding its tournament calendar, increasing prize purses, and introducing more innovative formats. Please do give him a big hand. We are waiting for Mr. Vishal to join in. So I think I'll introduce him and then he'll be with us shortly. Mr. Vishal is one of India's most respected chess coaches and a key figure in the development of Indian chess over the last 2 decades. A former national sub-junior champion himself, Vishal chose early on to focus on coaching and athlete development. Since 2002, he has trained some of India's leading players, including Grandmasters Abhijit Gupta, Sahaj Grover, and Tanya Sachdev. We have Tanya's mother right here with us, Anju Aunty. Thank you so much for being here. Vishal has also coached multiple Indian teams, including the women's team at Chess Olympiad, and he continues to mentor the next generation of talent. Next, we're excited to have with us Siddharth Singh, founder and CEO of Crosstrain FIDE Club. Please, if you could just... Over the last decade, Siddharth has been at the forefront of building the sport of MMA grounds up, developing athletes, creating pathways, and establishing one of India's leading MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academies. Crosstrain FIDE Club has also produced multiple national champions, and many of you who follow MMA would know India's first UFC athlete, Anshul Jubli. He's a decorated athlete himself. He's a 4-time world championship medalist and 10-time national champion, giving him a unique perspective on what it takes to build both champions and a sport. His colleague Gaurav was just mentioning that the minute we mention the word MMA and people are like, we want to stay maybe 10 feet behind, but I see Siddharth smiling and it looks anything but combative, so really looking forward. Finally, I am so very happy to have with us our next panelist, Dhruv Dhawan. The chair also tells us a lot of Dhruv fans, students, parents from the community. Dhruv, like you know, is the director of coaching at Squash Extreme and one of leading voices in Indian squash. Now, at a time when squash is preparing for its Olympic debut at Los Angeles 2028, Dhruv has had a front row seat to the sport's evolution in India. Over the last 15 years, he's worked with the country's most promising young players, coached the Indian junior team on the international stage, and helped develop athletes who have gone on to represent India at the highest levels. Dhruv promises to keep it very real tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I know you're excited to listen to each of their incredible perspectives. And our format tonight will be, we'll start by opening remarks by each of our speakers, followed by a panel discussion. We'd love to bring your questions in, which will be the third segment of the conversation. So with that, Amandeep sir, we'd love to hear your perspective on the journey of golf in India and what that pathway looks like for junior golfers.
Thanks, Amita. I'm delighted to be here, to be a part of a very intense group of people who like sport. I think that in itself is a great feat in this country of ours, where we consider sports as the last part. You know, I think it's changing from when I was a little kid of 7, when I got introduced to the game of golf, and to what it is now. We used to run away from our parents, hide, and try and play sport. Now parents are being taught how to introduce sports to their kids. So there's a huge change that has happened in 5 decades of me. But I'm still a traditionalist. I feel that you can't teach a child sport, or you can't teach them anything. You can introduce a lot of stuff to them, but you can't tell them to become what they need to become. They'll find their way. You need to just facilitate and say, okay, I will help you in whatever your dream may be. If it's studies, so be it. I will ensure that you get good schooling and maybe go to higher colleges. And the same for sport, I think. I don't think you need to tell them that they need to. Amita said that her daughter's working towards becoming a professional golfer. I think that's great. But I don't know if I ever wanted to become a professional golfer. I wanted to become the best in the world. I behaved like Jack Nicklaus, and I behaved like Gary Player, and I behaved like Arnold Palmer. But I wanted to become the best in the world. So I think that is what each child wants to become in whatever they do, whether it's art, sport, studies, or anything. They want to become better than their peers. So coming back to golf, I think, since these are the opening remarks, I feel golf is not, some people call it a sport, some people call it a game, some call it a social. We have people playing for a social sense of this game. Some use it as a stage to network, some as a catalyst of growth. To me, I think golf is such a beautiful, I wouldn't call it sport or game or everything. I think it's everything in one. For me, it's everything. It is also a catalyst of growth. It is also a social game. It is great for health. It is a sport, everything. Golf is a game where friendships are made, but also friends are lost on a game of golf. Why? Why is that happening? Because I think golf taught me integrity. I think integrity is such an important part of, for me, golf, but I think any sport. But golf is the only game where nobody's watching you. you call the penalty upon yourself, which is what I found the most amazing thing in golf, and that's what attracted me. That nobody, there's no umpire, there's no referee who's telling you, you know what, you made a mistake or you made a foul, you call it upon yourself. I think that was something that really attracted me to compete in this game. Like going back, I said, don't try and teach anybody to become a champion or become a good player. Just introduce them to the game of golf. Teach your kids golf because they will spend time with you. It's a great family sport. I think other sports as well are, but because of the difference in physical abilities, Lalit Verma sir is here. He's been a great sportsman himself. We used to look up to him, great athlete. But you can't play a competitive sport, a fast sport, against somebody who's faster than you. Or I wouldn't be able to face a ball from Kapil Dev. Or I couldn't bowl to a Sachin Tendulkar, but I could play golf with Tiger Woods. I could play golf with Anju and Ranveer together. And all three of us would have a great game. You see, that's the beauty. A grandmother playing golf with a grandson. I think that is the beauty of golf, and I can keep going on and on. But I think the growth of this game is very dependent on a whole lot of stuff. I think infrastructure is something which our country lacks, and I think all of my panelists would agree that why are we so far behind the rest of the world is because I don't think anybody is interested in infrastructure. We wish, and I wish, that how we have grown in making highways, in making airports. I think Indira Gandhi International Airport used to be a dump, and now it's one of the best airports in the world. Our highways used to be horrible, and now UP, the state which we used to call, not the fast-paced state, has got the best highways. So I feel that sports infrastructure, where we can discuss, but I think the people who are going to make decisions, infrastructure is lacking. How can I get 100,000 kids to a golf course? How can I get 100,000 kids to a sporting field is what we need to look at. Because if I can get 100,000 kids to a sporting field, I could get 5 or 10 champions. I think that is the most important part. And unfortunately, and it's changing now, our heroes are politicians, are film stars, are other people who are influential or make influences, do not play so much of sport, or they don't give that much importance to sport. You open a magazine, you're talking about socials, people going and having parties, but you never have, very few that they're going out to a sporting event. Like Donald Trump, we could criticize him for all the problems that we are facing, but he goes out and spends a genuine round of golf. So that is what we need, because that teaches you a sportsman spirit. Why is sportsman spirit so important? And that is what needs to be inculcated. The rest will take care of itself. We will produce champions, but we need our top guys, the people who make decisions, to become attracted to sports. Why are federations struggling? Because administrators are taking care of sport. Sportsmen or people who are not part of sport are taking care of sports. Going back to golf, I just feel that every time I speak about it, one golf course adds about $1 billion to the economy. Thailand in tourism earns $4 billion a year. So somebody out there needs to wake up and say that, you know what, we need to take this seriously. Golf is a great sport. Golf is a great game. Golf is a great social. I love it. I thank God for that I am part of this wonderful game. But I feel that I also want to thank God that I'm a sportsman first. And that is in my heart. And I love sport. And I hope all of you love sport as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We definitely want more sports people to be administrators. I think they always appreciate the perspective better. You made some very interesting points. We can always introduce children, but it's for the children to take up the journey. I cannot tell you. Every month, I get so many calls from parents, and the number one thing that everyone's asking for is psychologist and mental help. But what it also tells us that the most support we parents need because we're in a hurry, we want our children to progress, fairly quickly. So it's also a signal. I take that as a signal myself as a parent that, we need to kind of relax and, give our children a chance. And the other thing that you said about integrity reminded me of a very nice instance where my daughter got full marks in a subject, and then she went to her teacher and got a mark deducted to say, no, ma'am, you've marked this incorrectly, but this is not. My mother, who gives a lot of lessons in pragmatism, did not appreciate it. She says, you need to be more practical in life. She says, no. So I feel like that integrity sometimes also comes from probably Gulf. We now have Vishal sir, who's joined us. And Vishal sir, since you are here, we'll directly have you on the podium to share your thoughts.
I had to do a lot of research. I got a call from Amita about a month or so back. And obviously, at the outset, it's a privilege to be here. But when she called me, my first thought was like, the lady's got it all wrong. Like, she could have picked up 100 people out there from the sporting world of chess. But then, I don't know, for some reasons, the call came to me. As it sank in, I was kind of, perplexed and also amazed at the kind of intensity with which she spoke. And it dawned on me eventually that this is serious. So let's begin on a serious note. Indian sporting culture or Indian culture per se is not resilient. I would add here that resilience, in fact, is Indian sporting culture. Examine the nature of sports in our country. For instance, there are sports which are cornerstone of corporate culture. Incredible sports that keep the audience hooked. Sometimes even get the audience to, glued to their chair, waiting for whatever they desire. There's fame, money, glorified stars, often called an exclusive sport, reserved for the hives of the society. I do not mean here to name any sport per se, but there are many such sports. Horse riding, for example. I mean, you're not there yet, but just saying. Now, this kind of requisites require, capital, gatekeepers, and a specific kind of social currency. You may not necessarily need the money, but then you need a specific kind of social currency. A true sporting nation is not easily built from the podium. Whereas when you consider chess, because that's the background I come from, the first game of chess I ever played was in the bylanes of in a street in Chandni Chowk, for example. I didn't have to do anything. I just watched. I learned. And in a few days, I was able to play against those elderly young gentlemen, I must say, who were all retired, but they were just enjoying the game. And this is not all. Let's say when I started playing cricket, The first cricket game that I ever played was with a, for example, a table tennis ball. I'm sure many of you would have in your younger days, especially the parents. And then it was the tennis ball. And sometimes, even when the bat was not there, we were like hopping around using the batter that our mom used for cleaning up clothes, terming it as the bat because the shape is similar. Or sometimes, even when that did not exist, even hand cricket. Accessibility. That's what I was coming to. So it is basically, there's a thing about a sporting nation. Like building a sporting nation is what I mean. A true sporting nation is roughed up right there in the dirt and fueled by belonging. This is precisely the reason where cricket is today in our country. We are fueled by belonging. Each one of us, at some point or the other, I'm sure, would have done something about it. Watched it, enjoyed it, left it, played it, whatever. But in some way, there's some connection. So we are fueled by belonging. And I think this is precisely one of the core things that can help build a nation when it comes to, niche sport. For example, chess, or for example, any other sport. It could be pickleball, it could be anything else. It could be kho-kho, kabaddi, whatever. You name it, you have it. Every other sport under the sun, except the mainstream sports. What substantiates my belief is that we need to create a culture where every child in every corner of the country looks at a playground or a game board, say a chess board or a whatever game board, a shogi board or whatever, or a field, and feels an undeniable sense of belonging. They need to know that these avenues belong to them just as much as they belong to everyone else. Every gully, every rundown field, every empty parking lot is familiar with this rule. I hope you will all agree to this. This is something that has been happening in terms of many field sports. Kids go out, they play in their streets and whatever. Personally, if you were to ask me one simple question, be it pickleball or whatever games, like I said before, exclusivity per se is dangerous to the soul of a sporting nation. What we need is inclusivity, not exclusivity in sport, where everyone needs some sort of a special resistance to be somewhere. But then when we make the same thing inclusive to every person in the society, every child in the country, then I think this is going to go a long way in building a sporting culture. Going forward, I was 11 when I started my chess career, and the first national championship that I played was won by Vishal Anand. He is a living legend today. And I've seen Anand personally. I've known him for many years. We talk. Sometimes we even have had a few dinners every now. I mean, like not every now and then, but yeah, on a few occasions. So he just doesn't stop, even today. Even, well past his prime. He's been 5 times world champion and whatnot, multiple titles across all formats. He has done everything that is there to be achieved, but still he doesn't stop. He loves the game. This is what makes everyone, proud of him. He just doesn't stop, even today. Anand's success obviously propelled a whole new generation. For example, Pragnananda is already a part of future history books. And so is D. Gukesh, the youngest ever world champion, the second one after Anand to achieve the feat. And one question that I'm often asked is like, is it brain versus brawn? Why are the kids from southern India doing way too much better than the people from this part of the country? My answer normally is no. I always say no because I know it's just a matter of few years. I just now noticed Mrs. Sajdev sitting here. Tanya's mother, who's an Arjuna awardee, and luckily for me, my student for several years. And the game is spreading its wings. It's going to take a while, but I think we are almost there. It's not a matter of brain versus brawn or anything else, or it's not about the logistics of the place where you live in or the culture that you inherit. It's just very simply put, like sir also mentioned something similar, that every child needs to have this dream to succeed. And this is exactly what we need to provide them. Chess is richer beyond a handful of elite players. I mean, it is very easily accessible because there are moments of camaraderie, some of contention, some of wonder and fascination. There's despair, obviously, that comes with every sport. Opening up the games to everyone, to any sport, to everyone is, plainly put, opening up the game, opening up the world rather to the game, to everyone itself. This is, I think, primarily the most important thing that we need to look into. Without wasting much of your time, I'll quickly hop across to just on the last few words before I conclude. The real battle for everyone in a sporting world is your own doubt. You're fighting yourself always. Who is sitting opposite to you or across you is just a mirror image. There is nothing else. You're just combating with yourself, your own fatigue, your doubts, your battle. Unless you believe that you emerge victorious, no matter how the odds are staked, it depends on the situation. घड़ी हम जो पहनते हैं वो अच्छी होती है. I don't know what's your choice of watch. I see one there, pretty nice. But घड़ी से important है वक्त अच्छा होना चाहिए. So time could be great, but it has to work with you. And the level, this love of the game is of the greatest kind, the most meditative of discipline. Embrace it wholly. Value your sportsmanship and who you are as an athlete. This is what I try to imbibe in all my students that I've worked with, and I've worked with more than 20,000 students across the world. Allow this to happen as you breathe in. Seek and ye shall find. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vishal sir, for sharing your thoughts. I feel like I put you in a spot because you walked in and I said, but thanks for sharing your remarks. You made a point about access and privilege, and I'm going to take you up on that on when we speak about chess as well. And Vishal sir also said brain versus brawn. I don't think it was intentional that we put chess and right next to it we have MMA. We can make some noise around it. Uh, just so excited to have Siddharth. They have a big league. They have 3 athletes. If you guys, are interested in MMA, do join in at City Fort. I'm sure Siddharth will share more details about the league as well. Siddharth, over to you.
Thank you very much. Before we start, I just want to give you an idea to think about before I get into this. The idea is I want you to just close your eyes and think about the most capable person that you know in your life. The most capable person. The person you turn to when everything is going wrong. The person who is the most reliable. When you can trust nobody, you trust this person. All right? So, you can open your eyes now. I have been trying to search for this answer for the last 20 years. And hopefully, in the coming minutes, when I talk about my sport, I'm able to give you guys certain examples as to how they became the most capable people. Also, I want you guys to close your eyes again. Sorry, this is the last time. This time I want you guys to imagine mixed martial arts. Okay, close your eyes and imagine mixed martial arts. Imagine 2 people inside a cage. Okay, just have that image in your mind. Okay, you can open it now. I'm not going to talk about what image you had, but hopefully in the next few minutes, I can change that for you. I am Siddharth Singh. I am the founder of Crosstrain Fight Club. I've been doing combat sports since 1997. A lot of you will probably think this guy's lying, but I have Dhruv on the stage with me who went to school with me. So he's seen me do boxing since 1997. So I'm going to be completing 30 years in combat sports. You can see Dhruv's guys' extra claps there. You can make out. This is what we used to do in school also. So I'm, just to tell you guys a little bit about what I've done, I'm India's first black belt in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. I have also achieved the World Championship for India 4 times. Thank you, appreciate it. I've got a few of my students there as well. And 2 of my students, Tarun and Anvesha, represented India at the Asian Games for the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. So a round of applause to them also. They went to China in the last Asian Games. So before we get into MMA and me trying to change you guys' perspective, I want to give you guys some ideas. So the oldest sport in human history is fighting. It is combat. You look at any culture, you go back hundreds and thousands of years, you will study and you will see 2 people fighting each other. And it's been recorded, there is text, we have Mahabharata, we have Ramayana, all of it was about fighting. Now with so much of history, there's so much of knowledge to learn from. There are also some core principles that arise out of combat sports. And I'm going to be talking about three key principles that I use in my teaching, not just to help my training, but my students' training. And I'm going to illustrate those 3 principles because not only combat sports, these principles, a lot of young athletes are here. They can use these concepts in their sport as well. The first principle is called the pyramid principle. What is the pyramid principle? It is building the person before you build the champion. It's having good base before you can attack. It's knowing the defense before you can think about offense. If someone comes today, if you guys are walking down the street, they want to push you into a van because they want to kidnap you, do you have base? Can you stop him from pushing you into a van? Same thing with pulling. Can you not? Have you tried it? Are you going to freestyle it? So the pyramid principle teaches us that we need to learn the basics of any sport, especially for combat sports. Because if your basics are not right, you're going to be in trouble. I'm going to share a story of a young kid who joined Crosstrain Fight Club at the age of 8. He was brought in because he was chubby. He was getting really poor grades. But the number one reason why his parents got him to Crosstrain was because he was being bullied. He was scared to go to school. So my approach when they literally handed this guy to me. They said, you take this guy and help him out. So we didn't start teaching him technique. We didn't start building a champion. We taught him the basics. The basics of what happens when you're on the floor. What happens when you get thrown? What happens when you fall? You get back up. We taught him the fundamental principles of just getting back up. You lose, what happens? Well, you get up, dust it off, learn from your mistakes and go again. We were not chasing championships. We were not chasing glory. We were just building a foundation, the pyramid. Over the years, championships came. He became a national champion. Over the years, he became a medalist internationally. He went to Abu Dhabi with our team and won an Asian medal for India. A chubby kid at 8 became a national champion at 18. And that happened because of the pyramid principle. A basic concept that I teach the first class you attend at Crosstrain Fight Club. The first class of Jiu-Jitsu, I teach you guys this. Think about this concept in your life. Maybe you want to start a business. What is the foundation? What do you need to work on to make sure tomorrow you're well prepared for that situation? You have a big match coming up. What do you need to spend time on? What basics do you need to be focusing on? So tomorrow you don't have to think about the basics. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, they outworked everybody, right? They did basics more than anyone else. So that's the pyramid principle. Number 2, the second principle is called the prevention principle. Now, what is the prevention principle? We all know we're going to have a situation in life where we cannot beat the opponent. Sometimes the squash kid's there. You will face somebody who's going to be way better than you, for sure. Golfers, you'll be stuck in a position you know you can't get the ball out of the... It's going to happen. That's where principle number 2, prevention principle comes in. We, in training, in combat sports, sometimes we have to do rounds, sparring rounds with guys who we know will beat us up. But we use this principle to get to. What is the principle? I'm going to tell you a story. There was a young girl, she used to train at Crosstrain Fight Club. It was a normal day for her. She finished a meeting, she was heading back to Gurgaon. She would have been probably 48 kilos. She took a cab, and halfway through going to Gurgaon, the cab slowed down, side of the road, dark night. The driver stops the car. She asks, what happened? Like, what's happening? Why are you stopping the car? He doesn't answer. He opens the door, walks out of it, starts coming back in the back seat, opens the door. And now she's panicking. She's like, what's happening? This guy is not listening to my command. He's coming to the back seat. I don't know what to do. And to give you a background on this girl, she came in for learning kickboxing, cardio kickboxing at Crosstrain. Reluctantly, I forced her to do something called jiu-jitsu, which is ground fighting. She hated it. She told me, I'm doing it, but I don't like it. I want to punch and kick. But when this situation arose, and she found herself in the back seat with the driver trying to assault her, she didn't have time to think. Literally the day before this incident, she had practiced something called the triangle choke, which we had taught her the day before. Literally the day before, triangle choke. What is a triangle choke? Triangle choke is when you use your legs to wrap around your opponent's neck. When they're between your legs, you wrap them around and you choke them unconscious using your legs. So when the attacker, which was the driver, got to the back seat, tried to climb on top of her, literally the day before we worked on the triangle choke. She locked in the choke, both her legs wrapped around the neck, 10 seconds, the guy had passed out. The blood from the arteries. So the blood, so when the triangle choke happens, the blood from the arteries taking, from the body to the head, they got cut off. And it's like a switch being switched off. The guy goes to sleep. He doesn't know what happens. It doesn't hurt. You get switched off. So the guy got switched off. She got out, she called another cab, sat in the cab, went back, called the cops. And she told me a few days later that, coach, that guy has been caught as well. So I'm safe, and I want to thank you for teaching us this. So she learned through our training, whether she liked it or not. She didn't want to do it. We taught her the triangle choke, and she was able to use this in real life. And this happens, why? Because we will always face difficult situations. We will always face fear. And how do we beat fear? We beat it by preparation. If you're thinking a bad situation happen and I'll freestyle it, let's see how it goes. I'll tell you how it goes. Not good. It will not go good. If you're thinking, the ladies here in class today, you're thinking someone attacks me, I will figure it out. You will not figure it out. I'm sorry to say that. You have to build self-defense and learning how to defend yourself. These are tools you need to have in the back pocket forever. It's good to have them and never use them as compared to never having them. Okay, so just remember that the prevention principle kind of looks at the worst case scenarios in your sport, in your life, and helps you prepare working backwards from there. That's principle number 2. The last principle, and this is probably the most important principle that I talk about in training, this is the acceptance principle. Okay, what is the acceptance principle, guys? Acceptance principle is taking full responsibility of where you are in life and not blaming other people. If I go for a match and I don't win, I don't look to my coach and say, coach, because of you I lost. I don't go there and lose and say, oh, the government hasn't given me good infrastructure. Oh, I didn't win because the government, the weather, the XYZ. And I'm going to illustrate this with a story as well. Okay, because the points get made when I talk about real people from our academy and things as they happen to them. So this was a couple of years ago. I was at a tournament. We had about 50 of our fighters fighting in that tournament. So we have a big team. So generally teams will have one fighter fighting. We had 50 fighters fighting on that day. A lot of competitors we have in our academy. So I'm there and I'm so tired of coaching them. I was tired and I was sitting back. So generally the junior fighters, I don't corner. I sit on the side, I let the junior coaches help them out. So I saw one of our young guys, he just started training a few months. I saw him fight and he was fighting really well. He was constantly landing the left hand on his opponent. He landed the left hand so much that he knocked him out with the left hand. So the fight ended and I went to congratulate him. I said, bro, really good fight. And the doctors checked his hand and they were like, this hand is broken for sure. He cannot continue anymore. Now, that tournament had the guy had to win 4 fights to win the whole thing. In the first fight, he broke his hand. So I said, you can't fight, bro. I'm sorry, bad news. You can't fight because your hand's broken. He's like, coach, the guy I'm fighting next round, I can knock him out on the right hand. Trust me. And I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. He said, coach, you've seen my left hand. You haven't seen my right hand. And I was like, okay, let's see. Because this guy, I'm seeing him fight for the first time. So I didn't know. I just seen the left hand. So next fight, knocks out the guy with his right hand. But in the process, breaks the right hand as well. So now he looks at me with both hands broken. I'm like, now you've got to go out because both hands are broken. He's like, coach, I can still fight. I said, you cannot fight. You're out of the tournament. So I pulled him out of the tournament. But that showed something very strong that I wanted to see. I saw the acceptance principle. And to give you a bit more of a context on this guy, I didn't know much about him at the time. When I reached back at night, a bunch of senior students reached out and they were telling me about this guy. They were like, coach, you don't know this guy's story. I'm like, what story? They were like, he trains with us in the evenings, but during the day, he works with Zomato, delivering food. And that money that he makes through delivering Zomato, he uses for our training. 0 excuses, 0 nothing, fights like a champion. So that really hit home with me and with our team. And we were like, this guy's crazy. So we decided to sponsor his training completely. We told him, stop doing this Zomato stuff. We will sponsor your training. We will pay you. If you're doing this, knocking this guy with left hand, knocking this guy with your right hand, with doing Zomato on the side, imagine what you'll do with like free training. And we start paying him as well. This guy made no excuses. He accepted his situation. He came from Rajasthan, knew nobody here, 19-year-old, knew nobody. He had never even spoken to me at that point. Did not make any excuses. Didn't say my family doesn't support me, I don't have money. Quietly took a Zomato job, started working, started making money, started fighting, started winning. And then it caught my attention. I saw him because I saw this guy winning. And then I approached him. Never asked for a handout. Today, I'm happy to announce that he is one of the best featherweights in the country. He fights at 65 kilos. He is one of the best. For him, 10,000 rupees was a big amount. Few months ago, he went to the Northeast in one of the biggest tournaments organized in the country, and he won 5 lakhs. Okay, he knocked everybody out. He got 5 lakhs. So for someone who's getting 10,000, he makes 5 lakhs through shared determination and through accepting his reality, not blaming anybody. Not once has he blamed anybody. So us as athletes, as students, we need to stop blaming people for stuff. Let's go out and do it. We lose. It's our responsibility. The results don't come our way. Let's not blame the coaches. Let's look at ourselves. What can we do better? We're blaming our mom and dad. You didn't wake me up. You didn't give me the right food. You didn't give me that breakfast. Stop blaming them. Make your own damn breakfast. Figure out your own diet. The people who are helping us and supporting us, accept that that's not normal. That's great. Appreciate them more. Accept them more for who they are. And also, just to wrap this whole thing up, these are 3 principles that I talk about. But now we're also building a sport. We're also building mixed martial arts in the country. We're also building a business. Last year, we were invited to present at the sports, startup sports, some summit we went for. And I was surprised MMA was even invited to be there. And we won the award for the best sports startup in the country, which was crazy. And how did we win that? I used all the principles that we have learned through combat sports in business. Everything we do at Crosstrain Fight Club, everything we do in MMA are the principles we learned on the mats. Training, losing, winning, everything, using that. So I want to leave you guys with, again, taking you back to right how we started. The most capable person that you thought about when you closed your eyes, how did he become capable? Did he become capable by reading a book? Did he become capable because he went to a certain college? Did he become capable because he was born with it? No. He became the capable person because he faced challenges. He faced fear, but he went ahead with those challenges. He faced them head on. The guy must have gone through a lot of, without using any curse words, he must have gone through a lot of dash to become the person today that he can be there for everybody else. And sports does that for us. The pressure that we as sports people face, and the coaches that all of us are here, the coaches have gone through a journey with their athletes. The coaches have gone through this journey. They have become the people because they've been there. When the shit's been going down, they've been there. They've faced a lot of things. So all the athletes who are here today, you are going to become capable men. If you follow the principles, you go on doing what you guys are doing, listening to your coaches, you will become capable people. And I want to ask all the parents and all the decision makers here, a lot of key decision makers here, if we support sports, I'm not just talking about combat sports, if we just support sports, the world would have a lot more capable people. And that's a good thing, right? Thank you so much.
That was absolutely amazing. I think very useful 3 principles that we can apply in life, in sport, at work. And I think reiterating the role of sports is so much of life skill building. So I think that was wonderful. Finally, I'd like to invite Dhruv, really excited. Over to you, please.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I've been asked to speak today about squash as an emerging sport. We aren't as old as fighting for sure. 200 years, though, we've been around, but we are still emerging. I think it's important to understand what does it take for an emerging sport to kind of flourish and stop being labeled as an emerging sport. Before 1983, cricket was an emerging sport. We won the World Cup, things changed. Pulela Gopichand produced Saina Nehwal and multiple world champions. Badminton changed. Neeraj Chopra threw a javelin, won the Olympic gold, and javelin sales literally overnight changed. We Indians love champions. We love world champions. This brings me to a really, really important question. What would it take to create a world champion and make India a sporting powerhouse in squash? Not much. And I'm going to prove that to you today. In our sport, in squash, a very high percentage, close to 50 to 60% of a player athlete who wins a medal at the World Junior Championship. This is at the under 19 category. If he's in the top 3 in that championship, there is almost a 50 to 60% chance that that player goes on to become top 10 in the seniors. With that basic information, around 10, 12 years ago, I had this crazy dream that let's, create a world junior medalist. India had practically never done it. When we told people, I told the federation, I told, my peers, everyone thought I've lost my mind. We started with producing a few national champions, but anyone I met and they said, why do you do this? You don't need to do this. Financially, we were always losing money. And I would always tell them, look, I believe I want to make a medalist at the World Junior Championship. This is the dream. We were given 4 squash courts, non-air conditioned, a gym, which was literally the size of the smallest bathroom in our homes. We put dumbbells there, which were eventually thrown out by the administration of that place. I had 0 certifications on any international coaching forums or certificates. And I had this crazy dream. And anyone would ask me, so why do you do this? I said, I need to make a medalist at the World Junior Championships. But I had one amazing thing with me. I had a crazy child. His name was Shaurya Bava. His parents are here. We got him as an 8-year-old boy. And 8 years later, we did something that was unthinkable, unimaginable. He won a medal at the World Junior Championships 2024 in Houston. In India, we roughly have 800 squash courts. If I break that down and I go into a squash court of just the correct size, that number would fall to 200. If I further break that down and say, okay, this is an international level where we say, okay, we can just about go in and the child won't get injured. Please send your child here. It's not a skating rink. We've not polished it. That number would fall to 50. 50 squash courts, out of which 25 would be in elite Bombay clubs, Delhi clubs, where access does not exist. 25 squash courts in the whole country where there is coaching, which are basically barely accessible. And we produce Commonwealth Game medalist, a Asian Games medalist, a 2 times Asian Games medalist. She's sitting here, Tanvi Khanna. We have 4 Indians ranked in the top 50 in the men's in the world today. Badminton has similar numbers. Badminton has 40,000 courts. Let that sink in for a second. We don't need 20,000 squash courts. Egypt is the powerhouse in squash. How many squash courts do you think Egypt has? Less than India. 200 only. But they are world-class squash courts with the world-class infrastructure, with a world-class strength and conditioning unit, physiotherapists, nutritionists, a recovery area, a running track. That creates champions. I have been lucky enough to be allotted 6 squash courts at the Dhyan Chand Stadium. Just 6 squash courts. In 3 years, I have produced 2 times Asian Game medalist, a World Junior medalist, a World Junior team medalist for India, 2 Asian Junior medalists this year, last month, their parents are here, 9 India number 1s across categories in just 2 years. This was done with 6 squash courts. And not a single of those squash courts is a full glass court, which is where the children go and play when they go for an international tournament. Imagine you train with a tennis ball your whole life and you're suddenly put in for the World Junior Championship and now you have to wear pads and a helmet and you're looking through that grill. You've never seen that. That is the kind of infrastructure that we are having to train our children in, and these are the kind of results we are giving. I am not saying this to promote my academy. I am saying this to prove a point. The talent exists. So what is lacking? The ecosystem is lacking. The infrastructure is lacking. The commitment from parents exists. They're ready to spend the money. They're ready to take time out from school. The mindset in schools is lacking. If I ask a school child, a school teacher, one of the parents is here, the child had to play the Asian junior trials for India. The school put out IPSC tournament 3 days before the tournament. I called up the school sports in charge and I said, look, this sport is one of the most physical sports in the world. This boy is India number 1. He needs to make the Indian team. Please allow him to miss these, the local school games. They're anyway not that level for him. And the response I got was, I don't know what kind of a coach you are. In cricket, we score a century today and we can score it tomorrow and we can score it day after. I literally cut the phone. That mindset has to change. The environment that allows talented children to become world-class athletes has to be given to our children. Shaurya Bawa, a world junior medalist, unimaginable, unthinkable. Tanvi Khanna sitting here, a 2 times Asian Games medalist, 0 sponsors. Not a racket sponsor, not a shoe sponsor. Why? We say because you come from a rural area, you can afford it. Don't they deserve recognition? They do. Virat Kohli has enough money, so everyone should stop sponsoring him in that case. It does not work like that. They win medals for your country. We deserve to recognize them. Squash is now an Olympic sport. So everyone gets excited. Oh, Olympic sport. But how are you going to win a medal in the Olympics? If you send a child for the Olympics and he loses, then you say, oh, this guy, he doesn't work hard enough. He can't win a medal. The fact that he reached the Olympics with the kind of infrastructure you're giving him, that is more than enough. That has to be more than enough. What we need now is for governments, schools, institutions, and private investors to step forward and build world-class facilities, not just for squash. We need it all together. Siddharth is here. When we were training our children, when we were training Shaurya Bawa To make him mentally tough, we sent them for MMA fighting. They went. Now, why should I have to send this kid from Siri Fort to a basement in SDA where the poor guy has to run this center, children are running around? It's crazy. Why can't India develop a center which has a cafe, which has a recovery center, which has a running track, which has chess inside, which has a golf driving range, which has the best trainers? Why can't we do that? We can. It's just a mindset shift. I was speaking to him just now and he told me a school has 18 sports. We put it down there as 18 sports in our newsletter. How many champions are you making? What facility are you giving that kid? SGFI games happened in Delhi. They were allotted to Delhi. This is a government, the biggest government, sport game, squash. They could not find 4 squash courts in Delhi to hold the SGFI games. Vasant Valley was nice enough to give them 2 courts. 2 courts were put in another school, I think DPS or somewhere, DPS Arkepuram. And every parent was complaining that, oh my God, my child is slipping, my child is falling, we are going to get hurt. Let's stop this, we can't do this. This is the level of infrastructure, and then we want to create champions. The talent is there, the coaching is there. The future of Indian squash will not be decided by talent. It will be decided by whether we create the ecosystem that talent deserves. Thank you.
Dhruv, thanks so much. Like you promised, you kept it very, very real. I think it is important to talk about challenges also. It's a brief that with every speaker that I've spoken, I always say that, while we glorify, we talk about role models, mostly we consume sports in daily news cycles where it is about events and success, but there's a lot of work and you're all involved in the work that goes behind. And it's so important to acknowledge, talk about those challenges, and then, have the conversation that we're going to have now also about finding solutions and what we can be doing about it. So with that, we'll get into the section of the panel and followed by Q&A where, you all can ask questions that you want to. And actually, it was not on my mind, but I realized that we could have also called it a coaches segment. You're all coaches on the panel today. And I want to start with a question around access. Amandeep sir, I'll start with golf. I think so the number one thing for anyone who doesn't know golf from inside is it's an elite sport and it's exclusive, which really works well for golf because it attracts all the corporate sponsors. But I think it is, from a participation point of view, it really keeps a lot of people out because there are these notions that it's extremely expensive and it's not for people like us, it's for rich people. So one question that I want to ask is to address this as a challenge for golf in terms of participation. Do you feel it's a branding issue, or what have been your learnings from the efforts that you have made to make the sport more accessible?
Yeah, interesting question. I think access, a lot of people have talked about access is difficult because the facilities are not enough. I don't know if from my era, we used to go watch a film. एक ही screen होता था. To find a ticket was very difficult. You had to go 2 weeks in advance to book a ticket. Yeah. Now the PVRs came, there were 20 screens. So the more facilities we build, the easier the access is going to become. He's talked about there are no facilities. We are screaming for infrastructure and nobody seems to be listening. And that's exactly why growth of any kind of sport in this country, you go to America, you have golf courses, sporting fields. You go to South Africa, you go to all great nations, and our Prime Minister is talking about 2047 to be Viksit or a developed country. I think sporting infrastructure has to grow exponentially if we even think of producing world champions. Otherwise, it's going to be, despite the system, there's going to be one Saina Nehwal and one Leander Pace or a few Kapil Dev or whatever, because it's going to be despite the system. So if we can build infrastructure, I think talent, everybody's got talent. I think we will produce champions. So if you've got 1 million players who are given access, you will produce 5 or 6 great players.
So infrastructure being, I think perhaps leaving chess, which also has some issues about access, which we'll come to, I think what I was asking was also perception, that even with some infrastructure, there are some people who would never go there, whereas in reality, with some of the leagues or when you see certain players and the backgrounds that they do come from, and there is support that they get through sponsorships. Do you not feel that for us, it's also the onus for administrators and everyone to change that perception, to say that this can be, or it is the reality that it is for people who have access?
I think the biggest misperception about golf is it's elitist. I think 90% of the golf courses in this country, you can just walk in, pay green fees and play. And you don't know this about Delhi Golf Club, you can go pay 300 rupees and use the driving range. Anybody can walk in. So most of the golf courses, golf driving ranges are accessible to the public. It's just we perceive that it's an elitist game.
Yes.
And I think this country is producing great champions from the services background, because accessibility is there so much. You know, the services, all the golf courses are army courses. They have a sporting culture. You know, an army person gets off at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and there's a sporting culture. So that accessibility is helping produce great champions. Not only in golf, in many other sports.
I mean, I would say that social media has its many ills, but one of the good things is that sometimes when you watch, and I've seen that for golf also, a lot of videos going out of people playing on the range, and it kind of changes that perception that it is, like you said, anybody can, but the person standing outside doesn't even know, because you feel that this is not for me.
Absolutely.
Vishal sir, coming to you, now about chess. I think my entry point for chess is this one conversation I had with a chess parent, and I said, आपके लिए तो बहुत बढ़िया है, क्या चाहिए? सिर्फ एक board चाहिए और online भी सीख सकते हो. It's just so simple. She's like, do you know how much I pay for coaching for my child? And I was like, wow, we thought like golf is expensive. Chess is super expensive. Who said chess is accessible? So I think my Gyan Chakshu kind of opened when I realized that, okay, when you start, and that is true for most sports, when you start, everything is accessible. But as you move forward, you know, when your level goes higher, so that's something that I want you to talk about, that if there are parents in the room and a lot of people reach out to say, I want my child to play chess, what are those things that they should know about accessibility when they move from a developmental level to an elite level, which should not come as a shock to them, to say, oh wow, I thought chess to kafi sasta hai, you know?
Yeah, well, I saw one lady just raising her hand almost in my, with my closed eyes. She's right here. I don't know which chess parent you spoke to, but then, okay, so this is exactly what I mentioned earlier. I mean, when I was talking about, chess per se as a sport. We need, inclusivity over exclusivity. Now, the problem is that, yes, chess coaching is expensive, but I'm sure that golf coaching or any other coaching is probably equally expensive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The funny part is we always thought golf and squash are expensive. We never knew chess is expensive.
No.
So
I'm very sure that So it's like, it is expensive. It gets more expensive as you grow up. And, I've had students, I've been working with them for years together, some for almost 20 years now. And, they sometimes have to pay close to 1,000 euros a day to, just to get trained by a specialized grandmaster for a specialized thing.
What are the other costs that we never realize in chess?
There are no other costs per se. I mean, like, if you want to be an elite chess player, then you need to have a training support system. So normally people, what they do, I mean, once they get into that mainstream, they hire people. So some of them would hire people like me, some would go a little lower, some would go a little higher, some would go way much higher. I mean, it depends upon their own personal needs.
Beyond coaches, sparring partners also.
Yeah, no, sparring partners are, I mean, coaches play as, do that job, yeah. Okay. They do the same job. they work as a sparring partner, as well as they are also, I mean, like, as far as I have seen in the last, I think in India, I was the first professional coach. Okay, I was the first one, and then second one was RB Ramesh, who is obviously, he's done remarkably well. And then, now we see in Delhi itself, we have more than 500 or maybe 1,000 chess coaches who are doing this professionally. Day in, day out, they walk into a home, they train, they come back, they go to the next one, and then the next one. In the mornings, they go to the schools. Everyone has a good living. I mean, that's not the point. The point is that whatever has been happening in chess, and chess is actually looked upon as a career sport now, in the minds of the parents at least. I mean, the opinion leaders here are parents only, right? So when in the minds of the parents, when chess is looked upon as a career option, then they are fully inclined towards investing.
So I think about chess as career also we'll come back to. I want to bring Siddharth in. I think MMA in some way, Siddharth, feels like is everywhere. I mean, we had President Trump hosting the UFC fight at White House, like everyone was shocked. Wow. I think the cost of the lawn only repairs, which apparently UFC is paying for, was quite a significant figure. I want to ask you if you had to share one single event. I think Dhruv spoke about how it's been role models. There's that one moment, the 1983 World Cup happened, it changed cricket. For MMA and the growth that it's seen, is there one event or moment that you feel has, opened, or has it opened the floodgates?
It did open the floodgates, to be honest. Like a couple of years ago, the biggest MMA promotion in the world, it's the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Some of you guys might know Conor McGregor. Some people might know Ronda Rousey. They're like really big fighters. And the last event happened at the White House. And for these events, generally, you see in the audience, Donald Trump is there, Mark Zuckerberg is there. All the top US influential people are there at each of the UFC events. And no Indian had ever been at the UFC. It was a dream. It was a distant dream. And I remember even when I came back to India from the UK in 2012, I think me and Dhruv talked about it as well. Like, I was telling him one day, the dream of mine to have an Indian in the UFC, because it was such a far-fetched dream. It almost, people looked at me and they thought I'm a delusional guy. Also, I was doing MMA in India. So that further reinforced the delusionalness of me. So when I would tell people that there'll be an Indian in the UFC, they would scoff at it, they would laugh at it. And then a couple of years ago, one of our fighters got invited to a tournament happening in Singapore called Road to the UFC. So there were barely any Asians in the UFC. It was mainly Americans, Europeans, South Americans, Australians. Indians were not there. So they opened up this tournament. This was going to be a 8-man tournament. And the winner of this tournament would get a contract in the UFC. And this had fighters from Singapore, China, Japan, Korea, all the powerhouses of sports were there. And they gave us a spot with one of our fighters, Anshul Jubilee. And he was an underdog. Nobody gave us a chance. And he came out and he won the whole damn thing. He became the first ever Indian to win the Road to UFC tournament. And when he won, let's do that. Because that was a massive achievement. We won that finals against a fighter from Indonesia in Vegas. The fight happened in Vegas. And when he won, they put the mic in his face, say something. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Namaste UFC, India has arrived."
Wow, fantastic.
So, yeah. So that for me was a moment which, it'll stay with me. And I think with all the MMA fans, that started the growth of UFC in India for sure.
Yeah. And I think these stories are important because sometimes these stories stay in the silo of that sport. People who follow MMA may know and some of us may not. So thanks for sharing that. Dhruv, again, staying on the point of access, and I think on squash, we're going to stay on access for a large part of it. You spoke about lack of infrastructure. Isn't there a paradox that there's also a lot of underutilized courts that are there in maybe army facilities, residential facilities, maybe in schools, and perhaps technology platforms are making an effort to make them, you're smiling, to make them discoverable. But like, of all these that lie underutilized, what really is the issue? Is it the economics? Is it governance? Is it, if you can share a little about that? Can we not bring this in?
You really want to get me into a lot of trouble, but okay, let's do this. So DDA facility, City Fort, built for Commonwealth Games. You walk in there, 125 rupees is all you have to pay to use it. It's fine, very accessible. Walk in there with a coach, it's 1,000 rupees for an hour. Train for 2 hours, you're an Indian team player, you train for 3 hours, it's 3,000 rupees. These are court charges by DDA. My children go to play the Asian Juniors. Tanvi Khanna goes to play a tournament abroad which has a full glass court. The only glass court in Delhi, in Sri Fort, Commonwealth Games complex again. You want to use it, 1,000 rupees per hour just to use it. You want to coach, another 1,000 rupees. The coaching tender in DDA, what does the DDA charge for coaching? If it's 1,000 rupees, if I have to go with Tanvi Khanna for 1 hour, DDA coaching says we charge 400 rupees a month. How is that accessible? How can a child, why should you restrict a child from using a pay and play facility built for the players by the government? You're charging 125 rupees if you both go. If I enter the court to coach, how can that facility suddenly become 10x? And not only 10x of that pay and play. If you are providing coaching at 400 rupees per hour or per month, okay, you can charge 250 rupees per hour. I mean, 3,000 rupees a month. How can that become 1,000 rupees an hour? And there is no, and it lies empty. You go there, you speak to the administration and you tell him, but the courts are lying empty. He'll say, yeah, that's okay, we'll take the loss. Because he's not taking any loss, he doesn't care.
I think the loss is for the nation and for the players, and it's collective for all of us. Yes.
We have to raise the column. I mean, these panelists are all coaches. They all understand what the game is all about. We as parents also understand what we're going through.
Yeah, no, but please do finish what you were saying, and then, yeah.
No, my point is this, that we should have someone who is accountable and who is responsible to give us an answer.
Yeah, yeah.
How quickly can we build on? I mean, if he is taking care of squash, then he can guide us where to go.
Fair.
Get somebody there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, can I answer this? Sure. So, this is a squash, emerging sport, and we probably have the best academy in India right now, right? Where's the association person over here? Is anyone here from the state association or the Indian Federation or anyone? No chance. So they are the people responsible. But you don't.
So one of the things, one of the things that I do want to say is that first, we've built this community as a community of parents, athletes. I think the number one step for us is for this conversation to happen. In my mind, the first step is for Dhruv to be here, for Dhruv to share, for Dhruv to, I don't think even that step has happened. For everyone to, I mean, again, in those silos, in squash, everyone would know this is the reality. Outside of it, do we know? Sometimes we don't. I think speaking about these issues, getting our core community, which is the coaches, which the parents together, and then bringing these voices, and I'm sure, yes, and I'm sure that is like Siddharth said, pyramid. We are building our pyramid with this, so that's what we are doing. Amandeep sir, I'll come back to you. I want to ask the other big pain point. I think if there was a conference 20 years back, the same thing would have been said. What is India's issue as a sporting nation? Coaching. Like, coaching stays a pain point, and I'm going to talk about golf. So two things that come to mind. One is quality of coaching itself. I think it's like the perception is that a lot of coaches are aimed at club amateurs and for beginners, and there is such a paucity of elite, coaches who can teach at an elite level. And then the other, which I'm sure all of you can relate yourself with, is the sustainability of coaching as a profession, because coaches in India are entrepreneurs. They're fighting a lot of battles. You'll know this better than me. Now, if we look at examples from other countries, in South Korea, there are corporates who are backing it. In Australia and China, it is the government who's created these world-class academies. There is some player or the other which is systemically making sure that coaching, in US, it's the universities, they pay coaches fab amount of money, and they run these programs. In your mind, how do we solve for these challenges? How do we improve the quality of the coaching curriculum that is being given to the coaches who are being brought into the system? And secondly, is the challenge of how do you, which of these models will work for India, where the coach himself is not running around and the incentives never match, because you have 5 high-level coaches and they're all blocked. There's no time for anybody else.
Fortunately for golf, I think it's a little different. Over the years, a good, credible coaching system has evolved. We've got coaches who are producing good players, no doubt about it. And it started in 1996, where the RNA, Royal and Ancient in St. Andrews, they sent a coach called Donato Di Ponziano to start a Teach the Teachers program. I think that is where we actually in golf really benefited from that program. And over years, there's Jesse Garewal and there's so many coaches who have produced great players. So the coaching system in India definitely has become quite credible. Of course, technology is where we are lacking, and because technology costs money. But nonetheless, I think a credible coaching system is producing good players who can go and compete at a higher level. But like Dhruv said, the quality of golf courses is where quality of, squash courts, quality of golf courses. We can't host an international tournament in this country. It's very tough to find 4 or 5 or 3 golf courses in this entire country that can host an international tournament. And you need to host, we are at that place where cricket used to be, where whenever our cricket team went abroad, they couldn't perform in Australia, they couldn't perform in England, they couldn't perform in South Africa, because the pitches were so fast. So the ball was going so fast and they were not used to it. But it evolved over time. And I think, like you said, this is a great forum, and many more forums will, the voice becomes louder and louder. I think parents are taking it upon themselves, and so are administrators. I think it's happening. It's not happening at the pace that we want, so which is what frustration sets in. But I feel like if sportsmen become administrators and take it upon themselves, it will not happen from, she said, bring the government guy. We are the government. We are. One of us is. One of our child is. Our uncle is. So we have administrators amongst us. So if we get the voice going, I'm sure everybody's going to listen, because we need to take it upon ourselves that we will make the change. I'm not here to blame anybody. So I feel that's what we need to do, because it's very easy to blame a system, blame an administrator, blame, I don't have this. We all know, I think we can, if we put our energies together, I think we all can achieve. You have started a great platform.
So from that spirit of curiosity and solution finding, I would ask that, again, in golf, like, for example, Thailand, there'll be world-class academies. And those academies, somebody has to fund, right? There's a corporate who's funding, either it's a government who's funding. In Indian context, the coaches still operate as silos, and they're really figuring out on their own. The question that I'm asking is, in your mind, who could that be? That as entrepreneurs, coaches have to figure that out, how to make it sustainable. Maybe more demand comes and then, that's taken care. Or you feel there could be corporates who could come, there could be private investors. I'm just from a solution finding asking which of these routes in your mind might work.
I think everybody needs to start within that sport, start thinking that it's not just my problem. I need to help a couple of other people, you know, and I think that is where it's going to start. We have to stop thinking selfishly. We are very selfish as a general, you know, in the last few hundred years, we've been, you know, controlled by, let's say, the British or even before that. So we become so self-centered, we are not even thinking about our neighbor. You know, we are not thinking. So I feel if we all get together, we will find solutions. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think we can. And coaches will, it will happen like as individuals, but slowly it'll start becoming a system.
Right.
I feel. Like he said, 83 was a game-changing moment. It will happen if you get a champion out of a player. Gopi Chand produced a couple of great badminton players, and suddenly badminton has become part of the system, and government starts taking note of it.
Right.
So it just happens over time, and we are not a sporting nation. We are mainly, you know, studying nation because we need to survive. We need to earn a living. So once sport becomes an earn to living, and that's changing, which is why parents are here. Because they know that it's now become a livelihood. And that is a huge change.
I mean, I loved, Dhruv, that you iterated, and we have parents over here that I think the parents are ready. There are some enablers who have to support us, like schools, like, you know, the administrative side. Vishal sir, I'm just going to change a little bit from the question of access and just curious to know a little about the game of chess. Now, you've coached players across very different eras, from Tanya Sachdev, who probably would have learned, you know, in a world where there were books, physical boards, to now the 9-year-old Harith Kapil, you know, who's probably playing with online platforms and AI-assisted learning. So just in terms of, has technology now made it easier to create great players, or has it changed the skills that matter? Just understanding how the sport has evolved.
Interestingly, the medium for chess has been internet for the last 20 odd years. And ironically, or paradoxically, whatever you want to say, it was the COVID that changed the situation completely. It became suddenly overnight from a, you know, a sport, a normal sport, which could give you a decent living if you're doing okay, a good job, and, you know, a good livelihood, to suddenly, you know, making like really big name, fame, money, whatever you needed. And ironically, as I said, it was because of COVID that it all happened. I mean, we swelled from probably 50, 70 lakhs to 5 crores during that one period in number of players. And this is the data which is revealed by chess.com. I mean, the biggest online chess platform. And India has approximately 50 million players on their one platform. And forget about other players, several platforms like that. There are people who started taking interest. There are children, new children who came into the game. So the technology obviously played its part. And because of the accessibility to technology for children during that time, I mean, because they were mostly on the screen all the time, right? So those 2 or 3 years, that really helped the game swell.
So, so many more players came into this sport, and you were speaking about careers. Now, one question that comes is, again, in news cycles, we kind of hear a few handful of elite players, and then one wonders about the other long tail of players that exists. Are there, like, what happens to them? Do they have sustainable opportunities, careers in chess? My understanding is that even to secure norms, they have to go outside. There aren't enough tournaments that happen within India to secure norms, etc. A lot of expense that they put in for the, not just for beyond the elite players. Is there career for a whole onslaught of you know, players who are coming into the system?
Yeah, okay. I mean, this has been happening for quite some time now. That it's become some sort of a like a daily routine, I would say. I mean, not in the last couple of years, but before that, I was traveling almost 6 months to Europe. I mean, I was almost never in India. So when I was there in between, I was working with those people only who were traveling. And this has been the case because obviously it is not only the fact that it offers better opportunities and better options. That is because here in India, it was already perceived as a business. So because there is lack of support, again, like what Dhruv said and what Siddharth said and what he was saying just now, Amandeep. So it is the same. I mean, it's not much has changed for chess. There is not much of support per se. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that people started realizing that if you get to a certain level, then you will get people to back you.
Yeah,
So
I think the perception is that, in fact, of all, like I was scared someone will say chess co-emerging, chess is established, like, there's in fact a lot of, from the outsider's view, a lot of corporates who are putting in money, a lot of competitions that are coming up. The question I'm asking is that are there careers and opportunities because a lot of players are now coming in, not everyone's going to make it at the elite level. Will they be absorbed by the system? Are there opportunities? I ask this question on behalf of, because we are parents, because we look at, when you're evaluating a whole set of sports, and you're saying other opportunities available in that.
Yeah, so basically, it works like this. Like if you reach a grandmaster level, you have a fantastic livelihood. I mean, compared to so many other sports, there is not as Dhruv was mentioning, you have an Asian medalist and still there's zero backing. And this is really shame on all of us. Not only on the podium, I think in the entire nation. I mean, we shouldn't be dealing with our athletes in these kind of, I mean, like those who actually prospered despite the system, as he also mentioned.
Yeah.
So
I just saw my watch, and I think I want to very quickly go through 2 questions with Siddharth and Dhruv so that, I can bring all of you in also. Siddharth, 2 questions. One is, who is really backing MMA in India? If you can give a sense of who are the top players, who are the leagues, promoters, sponsors who are driving this excitement. And just linked is the question that actually MMA, all of this growth has happened without any government recognition, government support. I in fact wonder maybe that has worked to the advantage of the sport, where there's been a lot of excitement. But do you think that this is the direction it will continue, or there is a role for government? And if you can speak about Asian Games also from that point of view.
For sure. So, couple of questions there. Number one, it has been a really challenging journey for us. So I spoke about right in the beginning about that's just who I am. Like I don't want to look at the problems. I didn't want to look at the infra. I didn't look at the recognition. I didn't look at who's not doing for us. So I recognized nobody's going to do anything for us anyway. I mean, just that's how I've been all along. So there were no training centers. So we started our own training centers. We didn't have coaches. So I came and trained my students. And after 5-6 years, they became coaches. There were no competitors. So I started going and competing. So then looking at me, my students also got the courage that, okay, this guy is going and winning. Maybe we should also go and win. There were no tournaments in India. So I went abroad, competed in tournaments, made connections, and brought the biggest tournament to India, ADCC. So there were no black belts in India. We were all white belts. So you need a black belt to give other people belts. Also, that's the grading and certification. There were no black belts. So I had to go abroad, spend a lot of money on my training to get that system in place. So we've been plagued with a lot of challenges from the infra perspective also. It's just my outlook has been, and like Vishal ji said, to proceed despite the system and not with the system. So we've had absolutely nothing, and we've stayed away. We don't even want to get into it because it's such a time-consuming effort of just knocking on doors which are never going to open. So I'm like, if it opens, great, we'll be there. But if nothing opens, we are still going ahead with what our plans are. And to tell you guys about the Asian Games, since you asked, I have a painful story of that, but I don't know. I don't know how emotional I feel about sharing it. But two of our guys went there. Anvesha went there. Tarun went there. These two guys there. They went there. So yeah, big round of applause to have two Asian Games participants here. I was also supposed to go there. It's a very painful story. And since we spoke about federations, let me share it. You guys just make sure you don't tell anybody from the federation. So what happened was jiu-jitsu is the sport that I and the two of them were supposed to represent at the Asian Games in China. So India didn't have too many high-level grapplers, jiu-jitsu guys getting medals. So this federation, to get the sport recognized, used my credentials, saying that India has talent. We have some guys who are going to the biggest stage and winning medals. So recognize us. So they recognize the sport based on what I was doing and my team was doing. They got the recognition. They also told me that, you're getting through the Asian Games, don't have to worry about a thing. You don't even have to do the trials. You're in. And I was like, I'm happy to compete, but whatever you say. As the trials came in, they said, okay, we might need you to compete. So things changed. They were like, you don't have to compete. Now you maybe you should compete. I'm like, cool, I'll compete. I mean, I'm not dependent on anyone. I go there, I win all my fights. I submit everybody like in a couple of minutes. Now I should be ready to go, right? And these two guys won as well. They qualified also. So 3 of our guys, so out of the 6-7 athletes, 3 were from Crosstrain. Now we need to train, right? Like I need to stop training my coaches and my students. I need to train. So I spend a lot of my money, hard-earned money through MMA in India. I go to the US, I start my training camp for the Asian Games. Once I'm there, I think Anvesha sent me a flyer, a note that this is the updated team. And my name was no longer there. My name had been removed. So I flew back after having spent so much money. I kept knocking on doors, trying to get answers. Like, what happened? Why did my name get removed? I still don't know why, but I was the only guy removed and everybody else went. So that's to answer your question.
Wow. I am just so scared now when I go to Dhruv. Like, I feel like I'm constantly stepping on people's toes and what pain, that may bring out of, but I'm still going to try. So about LA Olympics, because we said role models and, when this is the first time squash has been included, what are your hopes, expectations that do you think this would do something for sport, for the sport of squash?
Getting into the Olympics for any sport, I think is a big deal. It is a big deal. Unfortunately, in India, we don't cherish our Olympians. We need a medal, and that's damn tough. You're competing with the best 16 players in the world. You've never had a world number 1, 2, or 3 ever in the history of Indian squash. So you're randomly going to expect a medal at the Olympics. It doesn't work like that. Where it does help is that, okay, 28 Olympics, now you got to hope that squash is there in 32. And then you got to hope that it's there in 36. And then you've got to again hope that our children who are now 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, they are being prepared for the Olympics. I mean, these parents here, I know these two, their kids are India number 1 and 2, 11 years old. And that's their dream, that the kid will go and, play at the Olympics and maybe win a medal. You don't, at that level to say, for sure, I'm going to win a medal, I think that would be crazy. It's very tough. It does grow the sport because suddenly the government gets excited and we hope a few more squash courts are built. But, taking from Siddharth something, I would use this platform to, say it today that this is such a small sport. All of these sports are emerging sports. It literally takes one person in this audience or one person seeing your reel and deciding, okay, look, I am going to be that person who is going to try to make, Olympic champion. And what do they need to do? if they are a trustee in a school, they have enough space. I will build your squash courts for free for your school. There you go. I'll put it out there. I'll build them. 20 of them with a world-class setup, and we'll try and win a medal at the Olympics. But are we ready for that? Are you ready for that? I'm giving this. I'll coach the kids in your school for free. This is what I can give. I don't want to go and ask the federations and the associations for this kind of stuff. It would be so much easier. I train at Dhyanchand Stadium. Half the stadium is lying empty. Give me the space. We'll build the infrastructure. I'll build MMA and golf and everything for everyone. And why not? This is where I want a private school. I mean, I would want a Vasant Valley to say, look, we have 2 squash courts. They're not squash courts of any standard. You can barely host a tournament there. Why can't, you're one of the best schools in India. LA, Olympics. This is the one sport where you can just make it happen so quickly. It costs you nothing. It'll cost you $2 million. What is $2 million to make an Olympic champion? I mean, America would be spending $500 million. I don't even know, the figure would be crazy.
Yeah, I think it's also, like in India, it's always about creativity. So it's finding creative solutions, finding who are the right people to be bringing in the room and hoping that a solution is brought. We had Raj, Raj Bhandal from Vasant Valley. I wish he was here. We would have had a direct proposition for him. We're now opening the floor for questions. So if you have a question, please do raise your hand and one of the volunteers will come to you. Introduce yourself in a sentence, ask your question. I would highly urge to just keep it specific to the topic, that you want to ask about, and no follow-up question. Do kind of talk about if there's a particular panelist that you'd like to, ask your question to. There's a lady right here, if you can just pass mic. Ridhima? Yeah.
Hi, Amita. Thank you so much for taking me. And so, yeah, I would like to ask my question from Dhruv. And so, as in, like, even Mr. Amandeep was mentioning that, about the career options, about sport, once you get a medal or whatever, you want to be a pro player and, how do you make your livelihood? So, earlier, even last session which I attended, Manisha ma'am was there and she was like generally talking about, in young athletes, how many even end up being a pro athlete. So then Dhruv just mentioned about one kid from the academy, Shaurya Baba, who won a bronze for the nation in the younger category, like in an under 19 category. So my question would be like, if my child is also if planning to, take up a sport in a pro level, what exactly should we be looking at? And is Shaurya Baba actually planning to grow pro? If yes, like, what are his prospects? And if no, why? And what kind of a support is he getting from the government? This is what I would like to ask.
So Shaurya Baba is currently studying at the Columbia University. He is playing squash there. Whether he will go pro or not. See, again, it comes back to the same thing. Noah Lyles won the 100-meter, in his 100 meters sprinting. How much did the US government give him? Almost nothing. They don't need to give him anything because the ecosystem supporting him to reach that space has already given him so much that it makes it worthwhile. Over here, we want to give money to someone who's winning an Olympic medal. What about the 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old child, or in this case, your Shaurya Baba, he's not guessing, it's fact, it's maths. There's a 70% chance that kid becomes top 10 in the world. It's not the government that's failed him. We've all failed him. All the parents sitting here, all the schools, like Johl said, we're very selfish. By now, squash is an elite sport. Parents get together, and why is the ecosystem not there? Why isn't Shaurya Baba a poster boy for 20,000 children across schools in India? Horlicks will come to you and Shaurya Baba will be holding it. And children will be like, yes, we want to be like that. That's how you make a professional player. So I know your child is, 11, 12 years old. Push for infrastructure, push your school, push me, push everyone to get that going. If that ecosystem exists, why wouldn't your child want to be a professional squash player or whatever sport he wants to play? They love playing sport. Today, Shaurya, when I talk to him, he lives a certain type of lifestyle. He lives in South Delhi. It costs him 4-5 lakhs a month to live. Why should he play squash? He shouldn't. As a mentor, I would be telling him, yeah, okay, study and, go on, move on with your life. But if the ecosystem is developed and it's not too late, it doesn't take 100 years. It takes one center, 5,000 kids, and it's done. Then everyone should play. And why not? It's that simple. And we shouldn't wait for the government or the federation. And if they do it, fine. Amazing. Thank you so much. But if they don't, we have to push this. We are not pushing it hard enough. Like what Sid is doing, he's pushing it, one man going for it. Our community is just not pushing it.
Sid, we are all coming to you for the training. We all need to understand how to push better. Sir, right here.
Hello, I'm Sunil Gupta. I'm a life member of DD Sports Complex and regular to CD4 Sports Complex. My small question is applicable to Siddharth and Dhruv. Do you recommend practicing in AC or non-AC studios and courts?
Since I provide my own facility to the guys, sometimes it's not, what's the whole saying? Beggars can't be choosers. So at this point in time, for us, an AC is a luxury. If the AC is working, I've put ACs out of my own pocket. If they're working, great. If the light, so it's a struggle. So it would be amazing to have infra such as air conditioning, as fans, good quality mats. There is none of that exists. We make our own mats, just to let you know. Even the mats we make, we go to warehouses. We have a manager called Anandji. He literally hand specs the foam with his own hand. He steps on it. He's putting his knee. He makes videos and sends us. Ki coach, isme thoda sa I feel good question on this mat. I'm like, okay, let's get 250 of those. So there is nothing available for us. We're doing everything from scratch, and that's a huge challenge. That time, effort, energy, like Dhruv mentioned, could be utilized in just focusing on coaching. Exactly, we could focus on making champions, but we are now figuring out कि कपड़ा कहाँ से लगाएं मैट के ऊपर, कौन सा adhesive लगाएं so that, और AC लग गया है, पंखे कहाँ लगाएं. Those are the struggles we are dealing with. We are trying to figure out rent निकल रहा है इस महीने कि नहीं निकल रहा है. Despite all the other, the fighter has to fight. He has to compete. That's given. And if the guy doesn't win, it's the coach's fault. It's the academy's fault. Nobody talks about anything else. So to answer your question, ACs would be great. Would be great. I would love ACs.
लेकिन हमारे घर में एक ही AC था.
I want to bring one thing. An administrator always asks sportsman को AC चाहिए नहीं चाहिए. मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, administrator का AC खराब होता तो कितना टाइम लगता है ठीक होने में? Can you perform? Would you be able to perform the same efficiency if you work in a 40 degrees office? Would you? I don't think so. So don't. Yeah. So आपका lift और AC खराब होता है किसी administrator का, तो within a few minutes it gets okay or replaced. But athlete को पूछते हैं कि यार तुम लोग economy जाते हो, second class जाते हो, first class जाते हो. An AC room improves his efficiency. That's all. It's not that we need it, but we improve our efficiency. I'd be able to work many more hours if I have an air-conditioned court. That's all.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I think वो कहते हैं ना coach can, and an athlete understands the pain. So thanks for sharing. I think
Okay.
you
I just wanted to answer that. So in our sport, in squash, अगर आप AC बंद कर देंगे तो the game changes. Now you're playing tennis because rubber ball होता है, it's bouncing till there. This happened in Delhi. They held the senior nationals in August, and the boys who were highest ranked, and these are fit athletes, within 1.5 games, I swear to God, you could have called a stretcher and taken them out because it was so hot. And we were putting coolers for them. Ki bhaiya iske niche. This is not the way. You go internationally, the temperature is 20 degrees, controlled. The ball will not bounce. Over here, it's bouncing like a tennis ball. The whole game has changed. So it has to be air conditioned.
We have a question there.
Yes. Hi, my name is Manan. I'm a father of almost 4-year-old daughter. Played sports all life. The whole family plays sports. I have two questions. Sorry, I'll be selfish. This is not on the outcome, but the input for me to have my kid play sports. I would love to get a sense or a forum to understand the money that gets invested to play sports in India. As of now, it seems like the government is not funding it, so it's mostly privatized. I know the cost of sending your kids abroad for sports, that I'm aware. I want to know if someone to excel in this country through private players like some of you guys. Just a sense of that. If there's a forum, I can understand it. And second, this is my business sense talking. If this is such a big problem, if there's so much fame and money can be made out of so many sports, why isn't it a very VC-funded business not investing? Or is that something that VCs don't look at, this space? This is the business side of me asking. Would love to hear your thoughts.
Siddharth, do you want to?
Can I take the second part of the question? The VC part of it. Yeah. So since we are self-funded and we've been self-funded from the start, we have also been profitable from the start. So my background is economics and strategy. I came here to grow the sport. I didn't want to become a coach. I didn't want to become an athlete. I love training, but my whole focus here was to build a sustainable business here for mixed martial arts. When I came here, I realized that there was no infra there. There were no coaches, nothing, no fighters, nothing to start from also. So the business kind of took a back seat, but I never left focus that I needed to make it profitable. And despite everything, we've been profitable from year one onwards. We continue to stay profitable. We have, that's one of the reasons why we won the best sports startup, because despite everything, despite Vishalji talking about, despite the system, we are profitable because my focus was on making sure this is a sustainable business. And one of the routes we take is franchising, so again, Amandeep ji mentioned creating a training course that golf had. We've done something very similar. So when we open our franchisees, firstly, they're franchisees that are just duplicates of our center here, because we've done a training program. So all the coaches across all our academies are trained by us. So they know our systems, our processes, and we've made it affordable as well. So you don't need all that much money. If you have a basement lying at home, you're not using it, we have a sustainable business that we can offer where you just give us a space, we will make you money each month. So that's kind of the way we have gone about growing the sport. But yeah, that's the VC. Why do they not invest? Because they think it's a blood sport. It's for barbarians. And
sorry, I'm asking a follow-up question. But is it similar for all sports?
My expertise is in combat sports. So I can talk about that, but I think Amanji can talk about.
Yeah, VC venture capitalists only get into it for money. In India, we don't have numbers. Our numbers, it doesn't match. I've got 500,000 golfers in this country. We have 30 golf courses or 40 golf courses. I mean, the numbers don't match. It's going to take a long time. I'm sure it is going to come. Cricket has started becoming a business, but it happened in 1983, 43 years ago. So give it some time. It will happen. It has accelerated. There's no doubt about it. We all need to work together for it. I think it is, as the numbers grow, venture capitalists will start coming in. People start thinking cricket is a business. IPL is a business. So when, the first teams were sold, when IPL started, was about a few hundred crores. And now it's many thousand crores. So it is going to grow. It's only a matter of time. Let's not, let's just keep doing our own thing, I feel. Whatever you can add to the system, try to add. And I think before we know it, we will get there, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
I think one good shift that has been with the leagues, because leagues are bringing in a lot of innovation. Leagues are also bringing a lot of private players. I think, and that's something common across all sports that's happening. I think we've completely exceeded our time. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your questions and for being here tonight. A big thank you to our panelists for sharing such brilliant insights, and also making it very, very real. I would just request you all to stay back just for a minute, because we'll also be announcing the topic and the details of our next month's panel. If you've enjoyed the conversation today, please do join us next month. I'm just going to request two of our participants. I'd request Ms. Anju Sachdev to please step forward, and Mr. Lalit Verma, if you can also step forward, to please honor our panelists. We have a small memento to give to them. If I can request all of you to please step forward. Thank you. You all enjoy. Have a good night.